China launched a series of ballistic missiles into the South China Sea, part of a flurry of military exercises extending thousands of miles along the country's coastline, as tensions with Washington over the disputed waterway continue to escalate. Pentagon says use of missiles, military exercises in disputed sea are destabilizing and violate 2002 Code of Conduct. The United States Department of Defense said that Chinese test launches of ballistic missiles in the South China Sea were a threat to peace and security in the region. China had launched as many as 4 ballistic missiles during military exercises around the Paracel Islands. The Pentagon said the move called into question the country's 2002 commitment to avoiding provocative activities in the disputed seas. Conducting military exercises over disputed territory in the South China Sea is counterproductive to easing tensions and maintaining stability. PRC's actions, including missile tests, further destabilize the situation in the South China Sea. The PRC, or People's Republic of China, is the country's official name. Such exercises also violate PRC commitments under the 2002 Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea to avoid activities that would complicate or escalate disputes and affect peace and stability. Over the past decade, China has built up military installations on several disputed reefs and outcrops in the South China Sea to assert its claim over much of the area. Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Taiwan and Indonesia also have maritime claims to the sea. The South China Morning Post reported earlier on Thursday that China launched an intermediate-range DF-26B ballistic missile from Qinghai Province and a medium-range DF-21D missile from Zhejiang Province after a U.S. spy plane reportedly entered a Chinese designated no-fly zone in an area where live-fire naval drills were taking place. China described the flight of the U.S. spy plane in the area as a provocative action. The Pentagon said the Chinese military's military exercises near the Paracels, which it calls the Qisha Islands, were the latest in a long string of PRC actions to assert unlawful maritime claims and disadvantage its Southeast Asian neighbors. It said the U.S. had urged China to reduce its militarization and coercion in the region. Instead, the PRC chose to escalate its exercise activities by firing ballistic missiles. The DF-26B was formally unveiled earlier this month, and is capable of hitting moving targets at sea. Earlier on Thursday, Beijing criticized Washington over its blacklisting of 24 state-owned Chinese companies involved in building and supplying China's South China Sea bases. The U.S.'s words grossly interfere in China's internal affairs. It is wholly tyrannical logic and power politics. China will take firm measures to uphold the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese companies and individuals. Beijing claims almost all of the vast South China Sea as its sovereign territory and has stepped up efforts to assert its dominance over the resource-rich waters in recent years, transforming a string of obscure reefs and atolls into heavily fortified man-made islands and increasing its naval activity in the region. China's territorial ambitions are contested by at least 5 other countries, and have been rejected outright by Washington, which has declared Beijing's claims to be illegal under international law. A U.S. defense told that the Chinese military launched 4 medium-range missiles from mainland China. The missiles impacted in the northern reaches of the South China Sea between Hainan Island and the Paracel Islands, known as the Qisha Islands in China. The Pentagon described the drills as the latest in a long string of Chinese actions intended to assert unlawful maritime claims that disadvantage neighboring countries. The U.S. government will impose sanctions on dozens of Chinese companies for assisting Beijing in the development and militarization of artificial islands in the South China Sea. China had carried out drills in waters and airspace between Qingdao in northeastern China and the disputed Spratly Islands known as Nansha in China in the South China Sea, but did not mention the missiles outright. The drills did not target any country. Though China's defense ministry has not confirmed the missile tests, China's government-controlled media made several detailed references to the launches, citing reports in overseas media. The missiles involved were DF-21D and DF-26 missiles, both of which have been touted in Chinese propaganda as highly accurate and able to hit ships moving at sea.